Hey guys, this week's podcast is brought to you by Hulu Plus. Watch your favorite shows and full seasons anytime, any place with basically any streaming device that you already own. Just $7.99 a month is a steal, but I'll get you a 2-week free trial by going to huluplus.com/Colt. Go binge watch all your favorite shows on your holiday break. We're also sponsored by The Midroll at midroll.com, bringing great advertisers and great podcasts together to spread your message. Go advertise on a podcast today, midroll.com. Enjoy those great companies, but for now, enjoy the show.
This is The Art of Wrestling with professional wrestler Colt Cabana. It's Colt Cabana.
All right, how you guys doing? Come on in, sit down, let's do it. This is The Art of Wrestling. It's a professional wrestling podcast. It's a life podcast. It's a personal journal. It's an entryway into the minds, the souls, the hearts, and the lives of the people involved in the world of professional wrestling. I am your host. My name is Colt Cabana. I am an internet breaker. I'm a new car owner. Most importantly, though, I am a professional wrestler. We are sitting here live in the studio apartment in Chicago, Illinois. Before we go any further, this is a fan-supported and listener-supported podcast supported by people just like you. We give it to you free of charge every single Thursday on ColtCabana.com and on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts from. Everything now seems to be in order. I'll get into that in a second. So subscribe on whatever podcatcher you're subscribing on. Great ways that you can support. Again, subscribe, review it, tell a friend, tweet about it, Instagram about it. I got a Vine. Did you see the Vine that I put out today? Or tomorrow, depending when you're listening on this. Do that. That's appreciated. Or if you do have a couple of bucks in your pocket, you can give back monetarily. ColtMerch.com and DigitalColt.com. So much new stuff is up for the holidays. I got a zip hoodie. The Wrestling Road Diaries is available for a download and a purchase. I'll sign it. I got t-shirts. I got hoodies. I got a beanie. Basically, for those of you who know me, I'm taking the DIY effect to the limit here, doing it on my own, shipping it out by myself in my apartment. One purchase is a direct support to this podcast and my wrestling career at ColtMerch.com and DigitalColt.com. I mean, usually I'd start and be like, hey guys, I'm 34 and I got my first new car ever. But like, that's not exciting, right? Or I'd say I went to WrestleCade and like had like a great time, sat with Sanjay and Freight Train and Cliff Compton. But like, that's exciting, but that's not what we're talking about here. It was a wild week, and a lot for the good, a lot for the bad. The good, we broke the internet. The internet blew up. We'll get into it with this chat with Punk, the back half chat. Now, we weren't expecting it. We're expecting something, but we weren't expecting that. I'm sorry for that. In saying that, the server, it just all crashed, all went down. Literally yesterday we fixed this. 5 days, I would say 5 days of trying to fix this. And all I can say is thank you to Cable Guy Jeff for allowing us to kind of see what's wrong. And then Dane over at the Midroll and Jeff and Adam who like own Earwolf. They were like, we're going to help you. And then Dane and I were on the phone constantly for 4 days trying to change everything over to SoundCloud. So it's basically hosted soundcloud.com/Colt Cabana, but it should be able to catch on all of your podcast apps now, mainly iTunes. That's the good one. So it's hopefully not broken, right? That's what we can say. Hopefully we're back on track. It was the #1 podcast, and I'm not a dummy. Like, I get it. I have my role in wrestling. I love to go out. I love to perform. I love to wrestle. I love to podcast. For 4.5 years now, I've been podcasting because I love it. And I happen to have a friend who had a crazy story. That's what we're doing on this. So it's almost hard to go into different shows now because the stories aren't going to be like this. But on this episode, you could tell kind of more what the podcast is all about. And there's been you guys who have been with me since the very beginning, and you know exactly what it's all about. But I do invite you guys to come on, join me for the other ones. This podcast was only always meant for 4.5 years to be a way to waste an hour of your life. Since that time, the genre of podcasting has obviously grown in popularity. Everybody kind of jumped on the bandwagon, and it's become like this business for a lot of people. People got into it because they saw money. But for me, again, it's just to help you waste an hour of your life and my life because I enjoy just sitting and bullshitting with my wrestling friends. This is going to kind of be it for Punk on the show. We'll get into what happened with the Qs and the As. Maybe some of you will be disappointed, but you got to understand once we get into it. We'll get into that. But he'll do this one, and then he'll kind of fade away into the sunset until his next appearance or whatnot comes up. But on the show, I think his story has been told. It is done. I'm more than sure he'll pop up on the beginnings from time to time. For those of you who subscribe, you'll be able to hear him bullshit with me every now and then. Probably bullshit with myself and Cliff, and maybe Ace will jump on. But he got his story out. We're done, and then we have fun this one. He's got a new store up at ProWrestlingTees.com/CM Punk. Lots of traffic hitting over there. Directly support the guy if you want to. I think I learned when they were in WWE, they got like less than 20 cents a shirt. So we're doing good things for the wrestlers who want to be independent. I also got a store over there if you want to get some big guy sizes or some black t-shirts. I got some upcoming dates: Providence, Rhode Island, New Jersey, London, Berwyn, California. You're going to hear those on the back end if you're not familiar with the format. Otherwise, there's not much more for me to talk about. I say we kind of get things rolling. Enjoy this episode that hopefully has gone out flawlessly into your iPhones or computer without a glitch, right? We're praying. Praying to who? I don't even know. Why'd I say that? Song of the Week this week is brought to you by Bombas. That's right, socks. And they're great, and I've been wearing them all winter after they sent me a bunch. Actually, as we did this podcast, I walked into Punk's place, and he's like, "What are you wearing? Are there bees on your socks?" I'm like, "Damn right," and they're great and comfortable. Socks are the #1 most requested clothing items at homeless shelters. Bombas was founded to help solve that exact problem. One pair purchased equals one pair donated. They're doing great stuff. Bombas has donated more than 150,000 pair of socks to those in need since launching in October 2013. Prior to launching, Bombas spent 2 years researching and developing the perfect sock and have seemed to nail it. How about the honeycomb support system? There's a blister tab and also stay-up technology that keeps the socks from slipping down. Bombas are purpose-built for athletes and engineered for extreme comfort, and they're just the right size for stocking stuffers. And with their special deal, a free pair of socks. That's right. There's no reason not to visit bombas.com/Colt. That's BOMBAS.com/Colt. Grab yourself a free pair of socks. All right, the song this week is done by the ever so talented, super fun, yeah, Rocket Ship, one of my favorite groups. They love wrestling. They support all the Midwest local independent wrestling, and they sound great and funky. This is a song called #1 Contender, about trying to smooch on a lady, but it's like a wrestling match. Go support them. Super fun, yeah, rocketship.com. All their stuff is over there. But now enjoy this little ditty. We'll be back with CM Punk.
I see you coming down the aisle, hailing from parts unknown. I really want to get to know you, but you leave me stone cold. You got me whirly rumble, you smack me down. I want to get you in the ring and try to doink your clown. Red, just ring the bell, let's get this thing poppin'. I try to shake her hand, but she starts atomic dropping. I go in for a little kiss, she gives me a screeching music. I try to give her my big boot, but she does it a miss. She slaps on your car, special sharpshooter submissions. I'm never gonna quit, I'm able man on a mission. She hits me with a flurry at 27. It's her girl, she's got me back into the buckle, begging for her wailing mercy. Come on! Ah! She gave me a backbreaker and a neck breaker, and she finished me off with a heartbreaker. I hear a 1, I hear a 2, I hear a 3, and I know it's all over for me. I was the #1 contender for your heart. I tried to pin you with my love, but you tore me apart. I tried so hard and got so far. In the end, you beat my heart. You beat it.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey guys, each week we bring the Art of Wrestling podcast absolutely free thanks to our great sponsors just like Hulu Plus. It's the holiday season, and whether you're traveling or on break or with your family, you can always watch your favorite shows thanks to Hulu Plus. Right now, Hulu Plus has all the current season episodes of your favorite shows like How to Get Away with Murder and South Park, plus past episodes of shows like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Archer, Parks and Rec, and Key and Peele. You probably watch Hulu on your computer, but Hulu with a Plus subscription is so much more. It works on your computer, smart TV, Roku, Apple TV, Xbox, and like a million other streaming devices that you probably own. Binge watch everything. Just get in bed, relax, get under the covers, grab whatever, and binge watch a whole season of something. It's only $7.99 a month. That's how easy it is. But I'm going to get you 2 weeks free. A 2-week free trial when you go to huluplus.com/cult. 2 weeks. It's way better than one. huluplus.com/cult. Okay, we'll start here. Sing.
No.
Now he doesn't.
Now I'm too nervous.
You have to listen to the very end to get the Easter egg of that song. Right
I'm
there.
too nervous.
So oh man,
I said oh
man.
What is it? No, what is that song? It's
James Brown.
No, it's More Stay in the Time.
Oh
Yeah, lock you up, throw away the key.
Do you want to know why? Like oh my. Okay, so yes,
yeah,
and we'll get into stuff. But people who have listened to the past podcasts,
we don't got to get into nothing.
No, well, whatever. Not that, but. I think we've gone over this. How I only know George Clinton from PCU,
yeah.
And I only know that song from was it like Mallrats or Clerks or like what was the Kevin Smith movie where Morris Day and the Time sing at the end?
I don't know, but the fact that you don't know Morris Day and the Time from Purple Rain,
no, only from something with Kevin Smith,
and the fact that we like cut our teeth up in Minnesota. At like First Avenue and stuff, like that's where that was filmed. Like that's where they. Oh man!
I mean, I just recently wrestled at First Avenue.
You see, there you go. You headlined. I'm assuming you headlined, brother.
I did.
Yeah. See, there you go. He was in the main event. That's the same stage that Prince and Morris Day and the Time.
Can I top that?
And Jerome.
Can I top that?
Can you?
I just literally opened for Jay-Z and Beyonce.
See, that's awesome.
At Hell Yes Fest in New Orleans, I did one of my comedy shows, and then I left to do another show at a different venue, and literally an hour later, Jay-Z and Beyonce like made a special appearance, came in unannounced. And
to watch the show, or
no, not
to
my
rock
show.
the house?
To rock the house, I guess.
Were they doing comedy?
No, they were. They were dancing, and they brought a bunch of people, and they were grabbing the singing. I don't know.
Could you imagine a comedy show, like comedy duo of Jay-Z and Beyonce?
Could I imagine one?
Yes, could you imagine it?
I assume everyone would
it'd
courtesy
be like
laugh.
a black Tom Arnold and Roseanne. That's how I picture it.
I'm just thinking of Bart Simpson bootleg shirts.
I'm going to dump this hot tea all over my crotch right now.
And black Bart Simpson and
black Bart Simpson.
Yeah, all those shirts. I don't know if you see that Instagram. It's great though.
Yeah, you better explain that.
Oh, that like the bootleg shirts from back in the day where like Bart Simpson was everything and then he was like a Rasta man and a black man.
I think I had a Bart Simpson shirt and a pro USA Iraq War T-shirt that was in heavy rotation. I didn't have a lot of clothes.
Was
back
that
then.
was that a Simpson shirt too?
No, it was just like
because there was tons of that like Down with Saddam.
Yeah, I can't remember what the shirt exactly was, but like those were two of the only shirts I had, like legit.
Which Bart Simpson did you have?
I don't have a cow, man.
Don't have a cow.
Yeah,
Cowabunga.
And like the instant Norman Schwarzkopf decided to lie to the American public, and we're like, we won this war. Like I wore the shirt the next day, and then I just got made fun of all day. War's over, man. That's all I heard. War's over, man. I was like, come on, I don't have any shirts.
Or you're just controversial since day one.
I'm supposed to throw the shirt out now because the war's over. Like how many people would be crawling over their dead grandmothers to buy vintage Vietnam War shirts right now?
Jesus. Since day one, I was thinking about it the other day. Was just your style was. People were saying I'm going with the CM Punk style.
What do you mean?
Of dressing. I've heard that before.
Really?
Like you have a dress style.
I can only imagine
which is just stuff that you
hobo-esque.
Yeah, it's just
that's
collected stuff over the years.
I mean, to me, it's not hobo-esque. To me, it's just whatever. You know what? Speaking of CM Punk style, I when I was in LA, I was in LA for almost 3 weeks, beginning of November. I was doing stuff, and I on a recommendation. I needed my hair cut, and I needed to tame my beard because I was doing Talking Dead. I wanted to look a little bit presentable. A couple of friends of mine pointed me towards a barber. It's called The Proper. I think it's off of Melrose. Decent bunch of guys. So I walked in there, and like I can tell when I get recognized, and these guys recognized me, but they didn't punish me, and it was like super cool. And I got my hair cleaned up, and they made me look pretty.
Grab a stick of juicy fruit.
And on the wall, like
good.
right in front of me, I don't know what that reference is.
Got my hair cleaned up. Grab a stick of juicy fruit.
To the song of Jeff Jarrett's, to the tune of Jeff Jarrett's.
No, that's the juicy fruit commercial.
Is it really?
You're telling a good story, and I think of juicy fruit.
Oh, and that's not Jeff Jarrett. That's the Honky Tonk Man. Long sideburns, got my hair slicked
yeah,
back.
kind of. I can see where you get that mixed up.
Okay, sorry. Where was I?
No.
So I'm getting my hair cut, and I look up, and there's... I'll show you the picture. For those of you at home, you're not going to be able to see the picture because this is a podcast.
Just mentally.
I look, and there's like this collage on the wall. It's George Clooney, Brad Pitt, like all the Hollywood, like A-list, like dreamy hot guys. Who's the guy? I can't remember anybody's name anymore.
Vince Vaughn. John Favreau.
He might have been up there. Not Favreau.
Hercules Hernandez.
No.
Tom Arnold.
Come on, the nice-looking blonde kid.
Black
He was in
Arnold.
Drive.
Macaulay Culkin.
He was in Drive. You know who I'm talking about.
The guy with the jacket.
It's gonna kill me. He's got a nice jacket. But anyway, and then I see my head up there, and I just started laughing because, of course. And I was like, "Why is that?" And they're like, "Oh, that's the wall." They're like, "We didn't cut all those out. Like people bring those in, and they say, make me look like this." And I was on the wall. Somebody, two people actually, because there's two pictures. Two people had come in independently and were like, "Give me the CM Punk haircut."
Because you've had different haircuts. That's an ongoing theme with
it's
yourself.
Just like the pomade slicked back, doesn't move. Yeah.
That was from somebody though, wasn't it? I remember you had told me that you were like, you based that on.
Well, slick back hair, yeah, to me was like ultimate bad guy hair. And who pulled it off really well? Harrison Ford in Regarding Henry. When he's nice Harrison Ford with the memory loss and he's slight, his slight retardation. He's nice and he's happy, and when he's mean, evil lawyer prick cheating on his wife and like beats his dog, like he's slick back hair. So that was the inspiration for that.
And so a bunch of people went to a barbershop and said, "I want to be the biggest."
And by the way,
possible.
Cliff Compton legitimately thought the name of that movie was Retarded Henry, not Regarding Henry.
Legitimately. I said there was nothing like him.
Yeah, he's one of a kind.
I like the idea that we can come on here and we can cool down because the next person that was going to come on this thing was never going to, it's not about topping anything or whatever. So like, this is the gist of the show for the most part. Like,
you're all going to hate this episode.
Yeah, you're all going to hate this episode. And this is what my podcasts are normally like.
And this is going to be my favorite episode ever, I bet.
Good.
Absolutely.
Well, don't forget the Rip Rogers one.
That one was very good.
Yes.
Oh, speaking of Rip Rogers, I swore a lot in the last, that's like the main, not criticism. That's just the main thing.
That's no
people
criticism.
have talked about.
Right.
Oh, I think somebody on Twitter said you said fuck 309 times, and I was like, that's right.
Which might have, because we had a fuck count on Rip Rogers, didn't we?
Yeah.
But there was like an over under on him.
It's like I remember reading about Django and how people were all turned off because of how many times the N word was said.
I was a little worried you were going to throw that out right there.
Yeah, I'm glad that I still instill that worry in you.
Yeah.
But I remember, man, you know what? There's a great story of us going to see Django. Remember that? We went to go see Django, and I bought tickets for a theater somewhere in Minnesota, which brings us full circle to Jungle Love.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah, and then we went to Chinatown.
Yeah, I remember.
Like good Jews, and we ate. Yeah. And Marty got really sick, and he spent 2.5 hours in the bathroom. And there was Chinese Santa Claus.
I do remember.
Yeah. Someday I'm going to make a TV show based on my life. It's going to be awesome. But I remember sitting there watching Django and trying to count, and I gave up somewhere on like 30 or something. And I was like, "Wow, this is a lot." And so that was.
But it wasn't overwhelming.
It's look. It's
the story.
It's the way I talk. I had.
I was going to say the Django wasn't overwhelming.
No,
but yours.
No. I had. You remember the one thing that I can tell you that I learned from a teacher Aside from, I learned arithmetic and how to spell and all that stuff, the fundamentals. But something that a teacher actually said to me that I went, oh, wow.
Jesus, because I have zero.
Opened up my mind. I went, wow, that makes a lot of sense. There's no such thing as a bad word, just bad intentions. I can say the word fuck as much as I want. If you don't like that word, that is not my fucking problem. It's not a bad word. It's the English language. It's expressive, And if you have a problem with it, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I mean, I'll take that back. I half agree. I half disagree. There are some, and we've had this conversation, there's some key words that like a group of demographic does not want used, and like if they don't want to use it, I'll
but there's nobody out there that's putting the boots to somebody who's a mother that's telling you don't say motherfucker because it's offensive.
Yes,
that's ridiculous.
I'll agree with that.
And
I'm all for fuck. Any kind of fuck.
Absolutely. I got shirts at 1 Hour Tees now, and I got a shirt on it that says "Welcome to Chicago, motherfucker."
Yeah, which I think is kind of risky.
Do you? Well, where were you the day before when I said, fucking pick these shirts for me?
I like that
and
one.
You said, who the fuck are you, Benedict Arnold, motherfucker?
Just as a businessman, I wonder if people are more likely to buy that.
That's why there's 3 others to choose from.
And
a couple people were like, hey, can you take the motherfucker off there? And we're like, absolutely not.
Oh, did a couple people say that?
Okay, I saw 2 people tweet. Can you take that off?
Because I can't wear it to 7th grade in school.
Yeah, whatever.
So we had a plan. And I want to jump into a lot. First of all, I understand you crashed my whole thing, which is pretty awesome.
Sorry.
And thanks to the guys at Earwolf and Midroll, and thanks to Cable Guy Jeff and the people at SoundCloud, we got it all back up and going. And so the key is to subscribe now, and you'll be in and all that jazz. We had a plan. I don't. And you tell me if you. So a lot of this I want to be to kind of look back at what happened. I think of this one almost as like a Talking Dead, almost kind of like,
sure, yeah,
we're kind of just recapping about what happened. And
let's talk about the talk show.
Yeah,
yeah,
and kind of
this is an epilogue. You don't know what that is.
I was going to say yes. I was going to say I had no clue what you're talking about.
You don't know books, man.
My first reaction was to say yes, just to say yes. Then I was like, wait, I don't know what that means.
And my first reaction was to immediately say you don't know what that means.
Right. Well, it worked out.
All right.
We asked, first of all, the email account crashed right away. 10,000 emails.
See, that's mind-boggling.
I thought 300 would come in, maybe.
I did not, and everyone's going to have their own perspective based on whatever, but I didn't think this was going to be a big deal. You know what I mean?
Right. I obviously, because I put out a fucking email that I was going to read all of the emails myself.
Right. But I didn't know that this podcast, just me telling my story, it was literally I just wanted to get it out there because, people are like, oh, you're a quitter. Oh, you turned your back on the fans. No. And I, like to kind of loosely timeline it. Timeline?
Timeline. I like it.
I'm sorry.
No, I liked it.
I like limes. Timeline. I was fired on my wedding day. I got my settlement signed papers and everything on my birthday, and I gave back to the fans on Thanksgiving. Thank you, fans.
Look at that.
Here's my story. This is what happened. Yeah. And the only reason it didn't get done sooner is because you were in Japan, and when you got home, I was in LA. I was doing stuff. So it was literally like the day, I remember I was harping on you. The day I got those papers, I was like, let's do this podcast. Is there a way we can do it in Japan? Let's do this podcast. And I was really anxiety-ridden and antsy just to tell my story, just to get it out so I can move on with the next chapter of my life. And that's basically what it was. I didn't expect it to become this big thing. It was not meant to be like, I'm going to bash the WWE and I'm going to say this and say that. I just rolled with it. Just like we did now. I hope nobody thinks we scripted talking about
Morris Day.
Morris Day in time.
Yes.
Jerome.
I think, so just looking back on it, I think because, and I said this to someone else, is that obviously we were involved in this whole process. And I say you obviously the most because it's you. Me because, I'm a good venter-tour.
You're just saying you knew all about this as it was going on.
I knew it, right.
Yeah.
And so it was just part of our
One of the
life.
select few, by the way.
Right. And so it just didn't seem like that big of a deal because I've been dealing with it personally for you, through you, and everything for so long.
Yeah.
And I guess so many people who everybody was shut out, you know, I guess of the whole story.
There's a lot of information in that last podcast.
And to us, the information was just every day.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's, I mean, when looking at it, sure, it does make sense now that people would go crazy about it. But as we were doing it throughout this whole time, it was just like, well, this is your life. This is everything we know.
Right.
And
So yeah, me and you, it was nothing new. But to actually say it, and by the way, super cathartic and therapeutic.
Yeah.
I felt awesome, and I still feel super awesome about it. When I was walking home, I got a massage earlier, everybody. I was walking home. Somebody passing me on the sidewalk was like, "Yo, love the podcast," and I was like, "Well, that's rad."
Yeah.
It was good fan interaction. And then I went to the tanning place, and the guy at the tanning place was like, he knew who I was. I'd never seen him before. He told me it was good. He's a big fan of me and you. And then I did an impromptu photo shoot with all the employees at Walgreens.
Well.
And the one lady asked me why I left and told me that Sting was back.
Oh.
So she's not a fan of the podcast.
Well, we had a couple.
Yeah.
In our range.
She's like, Sting's back. And I was like, I haven't watched wrestling in 3 years, lady.
I know, right? Before this, you got a whole lot of grief, and I would say,
Lots.
Looking just on my Twitter, which got bombarded, it just seemed like so much positive, and I know you're still probably getting grief, but like the positivity must have been, I don't know, nice or
through the roof, and I'm still getting it. And thank you for everybody. You know, I wish I could reply to all of you. I've only had to block maybe half a dozen people,
but those are going to come forever, right?
Yeah,
That's
sure. And I think there's like a cool game on Twitter to see how many people you can get blocked by, because they'll just be like, block me, and I'll be like, all right, okay, there you go. You know, if it makes you feel cool, there you go. I'm here to help.
And then, so essentially, the emails is too hard to get. I got emailed to my personal email, which half of me wants to come in here and yell at everybody. But I
you
guess
don't want
I
to yell at
can't.
people.
Yeah,
but I know what you're going to say. But shame on us for assuming that things were going to go like a nice, orderly way. We wanted, because I basically wanted to. I want to wipe the slate,
right,
and be like, that's the story. This is what happened. Now, if you have any questions, intelligent questions that are pertinent to what happened or anything. And the majority of what I've seen is, why are guys so wet coming down to the ring?
Yeah. That was one of my favorites.
Those are good ones.
Here's the most important question, CM Punk. Why is the Shield so wet when they come to the ring? Do they take a shower in Gorilla? That was the question.
Yeah.
And I was like, you guys got to be, but I can't hate on them, because those are always the people that speak. I feel the smart ones are just the ones that don't speak out.
Well, I just, that's social media. It gives everybody that direct line to you. And we were like, hey, everybody, ask us questions.
Yeah.
That's all they heard. And they're just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
So, I mean, just once to my personal ones and my Facebook, fuck, man. Just like 9 questions, just like I had time to answer all 9 questions.
Yeah.
A lot of which I feel bad that I couldn't read them all, which is a lot of their personal stories to you. One of the big ones, which I do want to kind of talk about, is a lot of to Colt and Phil, which still just irks
bothers the
me.
shit out of you.
It does, and probably more me than it does you. Because you've been Phil on Talking Dead and
okay, but you know what? This kind of opens up, I think, a legitimate thing of, what do people call me now? And I don't know the answer to that. I really don't. But I will get tweets that say, change your Twitter handle. You're not CM Punk anymore. And I just think those are kids who watch WWE and assume that CM Punk is this WWE creation, when it couldn't be anything further from the truth. And since I have been CM Punk probably well, let's see, longer now.
Since you were 14?
Yeah, so like longer now than, I was just regular old Phil Brooks, and it's just a fucking name now.
Yeah.
And
that's what I call
but
you.
I think it's grown into this thing where it's like it's a brand, and Marvel Comics was like, hey, when we put your name on stuff, like, and I knew immediately where they were going, and they were kind of like, I could hear it in their voice where they're kind of like, we don't, and I was like, you don't know what to call me. If you put Phil Brooks on the front of a comic, nobody's going to buy it. If you put CM Punk on the front of a comic, maybe somebody will get interested. So I guess what? That's my name.
Yeah.
And I still, there is still a huge part of me that feels that people who know me are allowed to call me Phil. Like if I'm walking down the street and somebody's like, yo, Phil, chances are, unless I know you, I'm not going to respond to you.
So there was a guy interviewing me, and he just started, and I hate, because this guy will probably listen for sure, but he was just like, and this was before this thing, but he was just like, Phil, so you're friends with CM Punk, aka Phil, or just, and I go, man, that's so cringeworthy.
It's just,
when you say that.
Yeah, but it's weird. You know what I mean? It's strange.
I think of it like Robert De Niro, don't, if you see him on the street, don't call him Bobby. Like maybe that's what like apparently like that's his name.
Do you call him? Do you call him by his names from movies? Like
Right.
it's like a weird thing.
Yeah.
Like who fucking knows?
But that's like what everyone knows you as is Punk. Like
Right.
So but I always do like when people say, "Hey CM," I think that's funny because I've never called you that.
But that's
before.
the strange. Steamboat always called me CM.
Yes, that's the first thing I think of when I say it.
It's just like I said, it's like the weird bipolar wrestling business, where like everybody calls everybody these fake names, and then like it's just strange and it's weird. It is what it is.
All right. So the plan with going in and asking the questions was like, because we were afraid we weren't going to hit everything, and we just wanted to make sure that your story was told and then it's done. Like this is the big parting.
Right.
And so we set that up first, but like as you went, like you not only did you cover stuff, you went into detail. And I said I was going to play this devil's advocate, and maybe I didn't because you just hit everything. Like that's how I feel. So it's not like. What was I to play devil's advocate to? I was just listening to your story.
Sure.
You hit all these details. I don't even know what kind of questions or what you could have missed. So maybe like, coming out after that, breathing a little bit, taking yourself out of the scenario, did you look back and say, I didn't touch on this? Maybe this was people were mistaken, or from tweets that you got?
No, I think I covered anything, and I think at this point, anything that I further go into, like I wrote a couple things down before we did this, but I almost think going back and re-mentioning things or giving further detail or giving further examples
Right.
of their awful communication, like I just think at this point it's just beating a dead horse, and now I'm going to sound like the bitter wrestling guy. Oh, I'm disgruntled because I don't work there anymore. But
and it's not about like if you need more examples to something, and that's like so like just looking at this list. There was a lot of stuff with obviously like Triple H and Nash and your wife and what else, like the chants, but it just seems like that was more that's more like angle stuff and especially the Triple H stuff. And
let's talk about the chants.
that was a huge one, was like, does that bother you?
Does it bother me just because people are randomly chanting CM Punk?
Yeah, I guess.
Would that bother anybody?
Well, I think
it's weird because they do. I think they do it in two cases. They do it when they see Ape, and like
who is
my wife.
No, I was gonna say, is she pretty or not?
AJ? Oh, she's so pretty.
Yeah,
she's super pretty. Nobody's gonna get that, but it's not.
Sorry.
It's not for you guys to get. It's fine.
Yes. The best was me trying to set that up.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't know.
Who is
I was like, what? Who's AJ? Who's Puerto Rican? Who's my wife? Yeah, my very pretty, gorgeous, beautiful wife. They seem to chant my name at her. And when I say, or I said earlier that I haven't watched wrestling in 3 years, it's true. after I re-signed, I didn't watch anything. And I used to be that guy that watches everything and analyzes everything. I would watch all the live shows, but I wouldn't go back and watch anything, especially anything I did. I ceased watching any of my stuff. I just didn't have the stomach for it anymore. But like I will continue to, and it's not easy either. I will watch my wife's stuff. She'll tell me what segment she is, and I'll watch her stuff. She's my wife. Why wouldn't I? You know. And it's not easy. It's not easy seeing and hearing, you know. And I'm just kind of like makes me feel uncomfortable, and I have like this anxiety about it. But that's neither here nor there. They seem to chant my name at her. And I've had a couple of people say they think it's like a respect thing, you know, to me, but it's not me, it's her. Chant her name.
Right. Did you sorry to cut you off, but even like last night I felt there was like a little like, hey, let's not chant his name, let's chant her name. And I heard like an AJ.
Yeah, good.
Chant.
Yeah, sweet. Do that.
It felt like there was like a nice part of the crowd that was like trying to take control and be like, no, we're chanting AJ Lee's name.
And there's a bunch of people that will chant when there's something that just is awful. Mm-hmm. And
Like
I see both sides of the argument. I see the people who are like, don't chant that guy's name. And obviously prior to us doing last week's podcast, it was, he abandoned us. Don't chant. He's a traitor, which is fucking weird. You know what I mean? I don't get fucking mad at the kid at Whole Foods who I said hi to every day and then he quit and I didn't chase him down at Jewel and be like, you quit Whole Foods, you bastard, you traitor. It's just bizarre to me.
What was that tweet you got that made me laugh? Someone was like something at the supermarket. Do you remember?
Oh, I just bought groceries at the supermarket, so I guess now I own the supermarket manager's house.
Yes, like
which I thought was.
And then you told me, because sadly our friend Marty DeRosa is moving out to L.A. to become a big famous superstar.
Yeah.
Anyone in L.A., please put him in your movies and everything.
Yeah.
And you were like, so where's Worst Promo Ever going to go? And I was like, oh, I guess we're done. And you were like...
I got real mad.
Yeah, you got
I
pissed
said,
off.
no, you're not done. I'm a fan of Worst Promo Ever, and how dare you decide to cancel it and move on just because one guy's me. You'll continue to do it.
Sorry.
And I will Kathy Bates, James Caan your ass and fucking strap you to a bed and saw your fucking feet off.
Saw that in the theater.
Yeah, did you really?
Yeah.
I read the book,
Oh.
and then I was upset. I was real upset they didn't actually saw his foot off.
I don't remember. It was so
That's in
long
the
ago.
book. In the book, foot off with a hacksaw. In the movie, she like hobbles him.
No,
Yeah,
that's not as fun.
PG-13.
But I was like very young when that came out.
Sure.
I feel too. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
What was the other movie that you said your dad took you to when you were a kid?
I would say my racist grandfather. Not racist because bless his.
No, there was some movie that was like scary as shit.
Well, he took me to Bebe's Kids. Oh, I saw
No.
the Fly.
The Fly.
My dad
The
took me
Fly
to
with
see
Jeff.
The
The
Fly.
remake of The Fly with Jeff Goldblum. Like, and you were 6, and I was like, your dad took you to that?
Yeah.
That movie would have scared the shit out of you.
Scared the shit out of him. And when he starts taking his body
Brundlefly,
apart.
yeah.
Oh God, I had nightmares about that forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Goldblum. What did we just see him in? He was just. Oh, we were watching Jurassic Park.
I watched Jurassic Park for the first time.
Yeah.
I never saw it before.
I feel it was late. I don't know if you got the best part of it. Although I don't know if it held up that well. It did kind of go slow.
I liked it.
Parts. Okay.
And by the way, I want to say because we didn't. It was late. It was a very long movie. I finished it the next day, and I
Okay.
called the babyface Tyrannosaurus Rex turn.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say I called.
I totally like they were cornered in the thing, and I looked at Ape and I went, "Gee, I hope a good guy dinosaur comes out." And on fucking cue, here's the T-Rex, and I was like, "Yep, all right,
Well, you're conditioned to the.
I'm a storyteller."
Yeah.
Goddamn. Yeah, all right. So yeah, CM Punk chants. I see it. I get it. You know, don't chant at the guys that are busting their ass, and I will be completely biased and be like, you paid a ticket, fucking chant and do whatever you want. You know, just don't chant it at my friends, and just chant it at the guys that fucking suck and wear lifts in their boots.
That makes a lot of sense.
It covers everybody.
I like it.
We're done.
And then there's a lot of. Would you come back to any kind of wrestling? What if you were offered the WrestleMania spot? There was a lot of that.
Yeah,
And
there's
so-
a lot of that. And this doesn't exactly correlate, but I love this story, and I think the intelligent folk out there will get it. The Doors did the Ed Sullivan Show one time. And the funny thing is like I said this to Heyman, and he immediately knew exactly what I was talking about. And he's like, I know exactly what you're going to say. But the doors, they didn't break yet. And if you were a young band and you're on the Ed Sullivan Show, that you were made.
Bands that hadn't broke yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, anybody.
Oh, the
anybody.
doors. Jesus, I was thinking the fucking front doors to get into the Ed Sullivan Show. Like, what are you talking about? Okay, the band, the doors.
Yes, the band, the Doors.
Okay.
Jim Morrison.
Yes.
The other guys that did
God,
too
the
much acid.
doors and the Ed Sullivan. Like, I thought it was a curtain, man.
No. Okay, so you know the Ed Sullivan Show.
Yes.
It was huge, and if you were nobody, you did the Ed Sullivan Show the next day, you were somebody. So the Doors are fixing to play the Ed Sullivan Show, and one of the producers or whoever comes up to him, and he's like, "We got a problem, guys. You're doing they're supposed to perform Light My Fire, and there's a lyric, come on baby, light my fire, try to sit like higher and higher, and and they told him you can't say that because they thought it was overly sexual, and the guy was like, don't say it, change the lyrics. And the Doors were like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? So they just told him, yeah, okay, we'll change the lyrics. And then they got together and like, we don't know what we're gonna do, we got this the Ed Sullivan Show, blah blah blah. And I guess Jim Morrison was just like, don't sweat it, we'll figure it out, I'll change the lyrics, blah, blah, blah. They go out there, it's live, he just does it. He just fucking does it, fuck it. He sings it the way it's supposed to be. They're livid. Fucking Sullivan busts in their dressing room at the end of their performance, and he's like, and he's motherfucking them and all that. And he's like, you'll never play the Ed Sullivan Show ever again. And Jim Morrison looks at him and goes, we just did play the Ed Sullivan Show.
Right.
I've been there, I've done that. I don't need to, like it's become such this big thing to where I'm synonymous with it. And it's, oh, shucks, he should have got his WrestleMania main event. And I feel very much like I was communicating that to them for a great many years. And, the window is closed.
Yeah. I was at WrestleCade this past weekend in North Carolina, and there was 130 famous wrestlers there. You know what I'm saying? And
Is Genius there?
Lanny Poffo was not
Damn
there. Yes. Oh, well, me?
What?
Me?
That's good. No.
A little late.
Shout out to Lanny Poffo.
Yes, hell yeah. And there was so many guys because who were discussing, obviously they come up and they talk to me about it, and so much praise from the wrestlers.
Do I have to apologize to you?
No,
you probably
no.
get that shit all the time.
I mean, from the wrestlers, it's great.
Okay.
From the fans, it's great too. But when it gets overbearing, it's
interesting. So who was like Mr. Wrestling 2 asking about me?
Well, like, do you want to know? Like, I don't know. All the wrestlers loved it. I mean, the ones that like are with it.
What does that mean?
I guess that's a horrible.
The ones that are with it,
they're kind of like.
I think you know what? I think whether you work for the WWE or you don't, or you did, or you never did. I think if you're in the business, I think it's pretty split. I'm not going to be like, I'm this fucking awesome guy and everybody loves what I said. I think there's a lot of yes men in the WWE that want to come out and be like, Punk, screw you, pal, and to try to curry favor as they see certain people walking down the hallway and all that. And
right.
I think there's people that work there that are they can't say the things that I said, and they would like to, and they feel oppressed, and so whatever.
I mean, I heard personally, and I'm going to jump back to that one point I was making, but I heard personally from a lot, even wrestlers in the WWE, how much they loved it, how much they were appreciative of it, and yes, that they couldn't say it,
right?
And I guess I'm not going to speak for you, and you don't have to speak about anything that you heard, but. I heard it, but a lot of the people talking about it at this WrestleCade, they all, and this is the wrestler's mind, and it's still my mind, but like luckily I don't think it's your mind. They were all like, well, he'll be back. And like everybody he'll be back. How could you turn down that money?
Everybody says that.
Everybody. It's like undeniable. And I don't want you because, and here's me being one of those people I'm almost like I don't want you to say it definitely, because maybe there will be a time that you will.
Right. Well, never say never.
And
right?
I don't want you to feel bad that you made this big like, hurrah, I'm never, and then you would feel bad about coming back. If that makes sense.
I get a lot of, you're going to go back when you go broke because we know you have $20 million and that's not going to last forever. Motherfucker.
I had to sit down and explain to somebody how you lived.
If you can't fucking let $20 million, and you're gonna fucking blow through that in a lifetime? You should be fucking beat up.
I had to explain to somebody that like he was doing the math. Well, he was on top for 3 years. I don't think he's. I was like, I go, he could live off of $20. This guy, like he'll be all right. But there is that like, that idea of like, I guess maybe not WWE, but like pro wrestling. That's not a lot. I got hit with that a lot of just wrestling in general.
Okay, well then let's play it safe and let's just definitely say it's way too fucking early. I have no interest in fucking going back. The difference in my appearance, my mental stability, like everything across the board from 9-10 months ago is so drastically different. It's very much like after the WrestleMania Taker match and I left, and that was quote unquote the first break I ever got. 2 months, 8 weeks, if that. And I had a strained ACL, a torn PCL, strained MCL, and a torn meniscus. So I couldn't walk for the first week and a half. You know what I mean? So like my quote unquote time off was spent rehabbing. And then I got the call and he was like, need you back, payback in the Rosemont Horizon. And I was like, I do not want to come back. I don't want to come back until at least SummerSlam. I was still trying to decompress from that. So like compound that by another fucking year of bullshit and lies and miscommunication, and you get where I'm at right now.
Right.
But
the idea, and one of the interesting ones I saw was the idea of like, well, when you were in the ring, like, was there a point of happiness?
That's when I knew I had to leave. I was, we all know I didn't like working with Ryback. I've detailed that.
Really?
Yeah, go figure. I was told I'd never have to work with him again, and then I got begged to work with him again, and then, I got hurt again. And then shortly after that, it was like I was working the Wyatts, and what should have been, and it was awesome working with them because it was fun and it was easy, and I felt like I could kind of teach and have fun and learn at the same time, which is, well, what the business is about. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
But this shit wasn't fun. You know what I mean? But I was so beat up that I couldn't, you know what I mean? Like, I wish, and hell, somebody in the towers has got footage of all those house shows. Watch those house shows, man. Watch me fucking, when I know Daniel Bryan's getting beat up and he's taking some heat and I know I got time to fucking rest. Watch me fucking crouch down in the corner and physically try to will myself because I know I have to take a hot tag, and watch me physically try to be like, okay, you can get through it, and I'm dry heaving, and it's insane. Like, and then I had to work the Shield, and it's when I was working the Shield on house shows is when it dawned on me. I was like, this just isn't fun. This just took like a hard bump one night off of something dumb like a tackle, you know what I mean? And there's 3 young, hungry guys, and like I took a bump off a tackle, and I was looking up at the lights, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing with my life right now? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Which brings me to a funny story.
Okay.
I wrote it down. I'm going to explain to everybody the way it works, I guess, in WWE. This is how things were for me at the tail end. I had the pay-per-view. I can't remember what it was. It might have been TLC, which I think is the one that's coming up, right? So it was in December. Yeah, that makes sense because then it was the Rumble. So I give them my buddy CJ is getting married. I give them the date like 8 months out, and I say, my friend is getting married on this day. I am not missing it. And Michael Hayes says, that's a pay-per-view. And I said, yep. Well, you're going to have to talk to Vince. And I said, I'm letting you know now. I'm going to go tell him. You guys don't need me for this. You know what I mean? And it might have been less than 8 months because I think I had a valid reason. I don't know. I had a valid reason. Like, well, you guys don't really need me. It's not like I'm not the champ anymore. I'm not, doing this. I'm not doing that, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I tell Vince, I tell Hunter, I tell Michael Hayes, he books the house shows. Why, I don't know. I tell him all I need that off. I remind him once a month. I remind Mark Carrano once a month. I get a new calendar every week, and I go, nope, that's still on there. I need that. It needs to say off. I have a wedding. My friend CJ is getting married. I'm not going to miss it. I'm not going to miss it. So, like a month before, they're like, oh, you're wrestling the Shield 3-on-1 at the pay-per-view. And I'm just like, no, I'm not. I told you guys. I don't know how many times. I missed I don't know how many people's fucking weddings, graduations, funerals, bar mitzvahs, everything. And I was just like, I'm not missing my buddy's wedding. This is ridiculous. Well, where's it at? It's in California. Oh, the pay-per-view's in Texas. I was like, I don't care where the pay-per-view is. I'm going to be in California, Long Beach. You know what I mean? So then Vince, well, I really need you. Do you? Do you really need me? All right, then here's what we're going to do. I'll go on first. Ape goes on second. And we're going to get on a jet. And we're going to fly from... It was either Houston or Dallas. We're going to fly from Houston to Long Beach. We're going to get off. There will be a car waiting for us. It's going to take us to the wedding. We're going to say hello to everybody. And then, we did this and we barely made it. It was the tail end of the wedding. But CJ was blown away that I was there.
Yeah.
Said hi to everybody.
I heard this. I mean, the way he told it, he was just like, it was done. And then here you come up. You're like, yeah. I'm not missing. I said
wedding was over, and I was like, I said I was gonna fucking be here, and here I am, and And then on the way back, me and Ape had this badass picture of us in front of a jet holding up In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah,
like we just flew to California to get In-N-Out Burger, and that's essentially what we did. And then we flew back, but that's just an aside. That's how my brain works, and I just talk and I tell stories. I'm sorry.
You're a storyteller.
The pay-per-view itself, it's me versus the Shield 3-on-1. This is the most pushed 3 guys since Bobby Lashley. They've pushed and protected all 3 guys, and they're like, you're going over. And I was like, okay. That's what you want. And then they stress, and they grab me and they stress. But you got to make Roman look really, really strong. And I was like, no, I was just going to fucking shit on him and beat him.
Yeah.
I was just going to tear through him and fucking Superman the shit out of him and just GTS all 3 of them at the same time, whatever. I was like, yeah, I get it. Okay. So while we're putting the match together, every 2 minutes, somebody new is coming up to me. Hey, you got to make him look really strong. So I got so sick of Michael Hayes and everybody else coming up to me, people who aren't even involved in the match. Hey, you're making him look really strong, right? And then finally I said, you know what? You know what would make him look really strong? If they beat me. Because 3 guys can't beat 1 guy. That's fucking dumb. But but Vince wants you to go over. Okay. But you got to make him look. God damn it. I fucking get it. I know how to do the job. Shut the fuck up. But if one more, I'm just going to fucking put him over. That's it. I'm going to put him over. And then they're going to look really strong. And then you're going to be happy, right? Well, no, because they want you to go over. But you have to make them look strong. It's just the mentality.
This is something that's always kind of gotten under the idea of an agent, right? I get it. They've been in the business for so long, and Michael Hayes has been in the business for so long, and yada, yada, yada. But it almost seems like this is how I've seen it. In my vision, it's like the wrestler himself is the person that got to that point, their job. They were the one capable of it. They're the one in their artistic prime. And it almost seems like it's right. It's someone saying you gotta you shouldn't, that because you're the one doing it. And it's your job. I don't feel that the wrestler gets enough credit for knowing the job that they're doing.
Well, no, and everything's micromanaged to the point to where there's no creativity anymore. Why bother going to the job and being like, oh, I have this great idea, when every time you do that, somebody goes, no, do it this way, and then another person comes by and goes, no, do it this way. You just have to do what they say,
right? And I know, I think Steve was Austin was getting to that on his podcast. Like you could see the wheels turning, him being like, let him just go out there and do it.
It's like you get bottom of the ninth. It's the World Series. Tying runs on third, and the skipper goes, swing away. There's no out. Swing away. Get that guy home. And then you get up there, and the third base coach is yelling at you to bunt, and the first base coach is fucking telling you to lean into the pitch and get hit, and you're just like, wait, what? But the skipper said, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like everybody has their own fucking agenda.
But that player is the fucking, and that's a great
And then if you don't do what the first base coach wants, he fucking hates you. And you know what I mean? And then the third base coach is like, haha, he did what I wanted. But then, you know what I mean? Like the next time the first base coach gives you a suggestion, you're like, this motherfucker's trying to sabotage me because he's mad that I didn't do his idea from last time.
Yeah.
That's the fucking way that shit works.
Yeah. It's hard, like, because it's such a corporation, like. And I guess that goes back to what everyone's saying, like, let's take, and I'm not saying like TNA or whatever, but just like, I don't know, the idea of in 3 years doing a show in Japan or a show in England or
Me?
PWS. Yeah,
I'll go work the fucking Young Bucks at PWG. I don't give a fuck.
So that's like that's not off the table. Like,
see, the thing, if I say it's not off the table, you're going to have these people that are holding on to hope that I'm coming back.
But this is what I'm getting bombarded with.
No, I understand that. And I guess it makes interesting conversation, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think there's plenty of guys out there that think they know. Jericho, I think, is one of them. Jericho thinks that I feel exactly how he felt in 2005, and he left for 2.5 years or something like that.
Right.
So from his perspective, he felt in 2005 when he left that he was never going to come back. And now he sees me saying that, and he's probably like, just wait 3 years.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? You'll feel like it'll come back. And I can see his point of view, but then in turn I go, motherfucker, they didn't fire you on your wedding day. They didn't purposely and maliciously try to ruin a day that was supposed to be, is supposed to be special to everybody. It's your wedding day.
Mm-hmm. That they knew, that they did know about.
I don't want to hear, it was a coincidence. I don't want to hear, the lawyers didn't talk to talent relations. I talked to Hunter on the 11th. On the 13th, FedExed overnight. I got a document that was dated the 12th. My wife asked for that time off so she could A, get married, B, go on her honeymoon.
Yeah.
The weekend after her honeymoon, she was back on TV. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they knew. I don't want to hear, it was a coincidence. And you know what? I'll address it. If the apology was sincere, you wouldn't use it as a publicity stunt on Austin's podcast. You have my phone number. You have my address. You could text. You could call. You could show up when you're a 10-minute fucking drive from my house and apologize to me like a man.
Yeah.
That's the fucking reality of it. That's the fucking timeline, ladies and gentlemen. I was sick and fucking hurt and sick and tired and burnt out, and I walked. And I can do that because I'm an independent fucking contractor. And then I was suspended, and then nobody contacted me after my suspension to be like, you're unsuspended. We need you at Raw. I got those phone calls. We need you at TV a day after elbow surgery. I got that phone call a day after knee surgery.
Right. They weren't afraid to
They weren't afraid to do it
that.
then.
Yeah.
So where the fuck was my phone call? I'm suspended. Fine, great. I'm suspended. You know what? Maybe in the 2 months I'm going to wind up feeling better and I'm going to come to my senses. But nobody ever found out because nobody ever reached out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every 6 months we had a new head of talent relations. Whether it was Jane Geddes, whether it was Sean McCleary, and there are all these people that had no business being the head of talent relations. And every 6 months somebody new, and you're supposed to relate to the talent, but nobody knew how to talk to these people. I'm a wrestler. I don't know, you know what I mean? The head of the HR department doesn't know anything about taking bumps. He doesn't know what a payday is. If I said, hey, I'm a blue eye, he wouldn't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So it's hard to relate to these people. I don't want to hear it was a coincidence, and I'm sorry. It was a publicity stunt. You're sorry. Great. Be a man and call me.
I don't want to get you so fired up.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Wait,
it's the fucking way it is, though, man. It's the fucking way it is.
Yeah.
That's fucking reality. And if anybody out there thinks, oh, it was a fucking coincidence, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
But he's I mean, that whole thing, and I don't want to get into it, but like, that whole, like, I thought Steve was great. He was trying to get answers, and then the guy manipulates so much that it's like he doesn't have time to be like, no, you lied, or why? Come on, this answer. And so it's his program, his thing. He does whatever he wants. And in saying that, you understood it, and that's why you're the fuck out of there.
And that's it. And I don't know why anybody's got to be mad about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, people who are like, you signed a contract. You have to understand that contracts are not fucking worth the paper they're printed on. If they were, they wouldn't have settled. They would have held me over a fucking barrel, and I wouldn't be doing this fucking podcast. I waited till all the legal bullshit was out of the way. I never sued them. It was all about a settlement. It was, hey guys, guess what? You can't do that. You can't do this, and don't do this. And they immediately fired back and were like, okay, how do you want to proceed? And that's what it was. You know, lawyers didn't jam anything up. Lawyers expedited the process, and now I'm a fucking free guy. Look at Del Rio. Bless his fucking heart. Love that guy. He's wrestling other places now. You know why? Because you can't put a no-compete clause on an independent contractor. Period.
Mm-hmm. So, obviously, not in wrestling, but like, obviously, like, I think that's the whole thing, is everyone just, you represented wrestling for so long, and now you're
with my whole life.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's even the people who are like, you owe me. It's because you were on the TV, you were doing the wrestling, and
I understand fans' passion.
Right.
What was it? It was Thanksgiving, right? Yeah, it was Thanksgiving. Like, I'm hanging out with the sisters, and I'm eating turkey, and then, like, at the end of the night, like, I grabbed my phone, and Rock texted me, and he was like, just opened up my Twitter, and all your fans are mad at me. and he was like, what the fuck happened? And I just text back like, oh, I did this podcast. I explained why I left. And I was literally like, I don't think I said anything negative about you, but I probably discussed like working with you and trying to, remain working with you so I could get a WrestleMania main event out of it. And like, I just talked about that. I think people are mad that I dropped the title to you. But I didn't say anything, negative about you. And, you're super cool about it. But, like, that's the passion of wrestling fans. You know what I mean?
And on top of that, my friend Stu Stone, who I name drop every podcast, he said the statement, and I discussed it with you too, but with their passion comes something I appreciate is the hilarity of some of the memes that were made from this podcast.
Yeah.
And sometimes but you more, and it's me when I'm like, man, these guys, what the fuck? They show how great they are by just being like true funny people and making funny stuff.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
I think some of the funnier ones are the ones that aren't funny at all, and you're just like, what?
Well, I don't know. There were some ones that were very funny that I really liked. So that's like, you'll always be a part, obviously, of the wrestling culture, and that's why, right? That's why we could justify you having on the show. Like, hey, if he wasn't part of the show, if he wasn't part of wrestling, he wouldn't be on this wrestling podcast. But like, no, you're part of the culture. You're part of my life. You're part of everything. And so this was about, not to go back to Steve's, but like, these are all different shows. Steve's, it seemed like, which I liked. It seemed like he was very like, he has this Barbara Walters, Nancy Grace style of like getting to the answer, where this is, our show is just about bullshitting on here, and telling the stories. Well,
I guess there wouldn't have been any juicy details or anything to ask about if it wasn't for our podcast last week. That's what I mean by saying, like, I didn't want it to turn into this fucking thing,
right?
And I don't want people to think that, like, oh, Vince, what do you say about the, like, I'm not replying to any of that shit. Like, this is it.
That's what I was getting at, is that this, I got it. We're not trying to make this a back and forth. Like,
right.
This is the ultimate closure right now.
Yeah.
This is like closure out of, and that was kind of the wrap up, was like, You were in it, but now you're out of it. We're closing it. You're on to a new chapter. This was meant to allow you to get everything off your chest, which you did, and then you came on here. You felt good.
Well, I know also people are asking me like, "Oh, do you accept Vince's apology?" And like, I'll say I appreciate the sentiment, but that was not a sincere apology. And you know, he knew about it. He knew about it since June. He knew about it since June. Why didn't he apologize in June? If he really felt bad about it, and he just wanted to make sure a TV camera was on him so he could kind of damage control it and be like, "Oh gosh, I'm really sorry." No, if you were, you would have apologized earlier. And if you really wanted to talk to me, you would have responded after I got a hold of everybody in the office. You would have said, "You're unsuspended." You would have said, "We need you back on TV," like you did when I was walking out of the hospital still anesthetized. You know,
no clue what that means. No clue.
May you never know, because anesthesia is the fucking worst thing on fucking planet Earth. Oh, that's another one. Hey, punk, you're straight edge. Does that mean you refuse anesthesia? Yeah, dipshit. I let people probe around my fucking knee, and I just fucking watch them do it, and I think it's funny.
Be tough, man. Be
of
tough.
course.
Be tough.
It's goddamn evasive surgery. Come on.
But that was my closure of just you're gone.
It's done. You know what I mean?
We're closing this chapter of your life.
Yeah.
And I hope this was all right.
It was super all right.
Yeah.
Are you wrapping me up?
I don't know. I mean,
damn it.
Is there stuff? Obviously, we've set a precedent that we go an hour and a half.
Yeah, right. No, I think the best is like if it's just an hour, people are going to look at it and be so disappointed. They're going to be like 59 minutes. No. One of the things I wrote down because it. One of the things that I was like, oh, shit, yeah. So I talked about sponsors. Like, I had all these people coming out of the woodwork wanting me to do this, wanting me to do that. And one of them was Wizard World. So, like, I dropped the pipe bomb. All of a sudden, wrestling's socially relevant again. And all of a sudden, I got Wizard World going, hey, we want you to come to these signings. We know you're a comic book fan, and, like, we think you're great, and we think you're going to draw on this and this and that. So what do? Good little soldier that I am. I give it to the office, and I say, hey, these guys approached me for an appearance, and they want to do this, and it's X amount of money, and I want to do it on these days. So I need those days off of house shows. And the office takes it, and the office gives it to everybody else, which I can't get mad at. I can't get mad because my wife did some. The Shield did some. Fucking Cena does a lot of them. You know what I mean? Like, great. But where's the, you know what I mean? Like, I got that. Mm-hmm. Is there a kickback
went personally
for
to
me?
you.
Is there a kickback for me? Because I feel like if I don't ask, if I don't raise a stink about it, that I'm a bad businessman. And now they think that they can just walk all over me and do whatever the fuck they want. Right? So I say stuff. I never get an answer. So I'm like, fuck them. Right? I have a Wizard World scheduled for Nashville. I'm sitting on the couch, fucking get an alert. I got a tweet. It's Wizard World saying, sorry, fans. CM Punk has been pulled from the appearance. He's being replaced with Daniel Bryan. And I'm like, huh. And I tweet back, that's news to me. First I heard of it. What the fuck's going on? And then, Stephen Sheamus immediately calls me. He's like, oh, hey, They pulled you from the thing, blah, 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 blah. All right, so now I have to call the office. It's just like being on the phone and going, hey, you're right. That is the European tour. I'm going to see if the movie studio can push back or move forward the shooting dates for the movie. Okay, great. Next day, Randy Orton's in the movie. Oh, great. Thanks for the call. So I call the office and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And I'm pissed. And this is where I get the reputation of, he's hard to work with. Wouldn't you be pissed? Mm-hmm. Shouldn't you be pissed off that they just took this money? And I'm going to go ahead and say it. It was fucking $20,000 for 4 hours of fucking work, not throwing my fucking head at the ground. So I'm like, all right, what's the deal? Mark Carrano, ever the spin doctor. Well, Mexico's not doing so good and we need you on the Mexico tour. Okay. How many days is it? It's 4. It's 4 dates. Okay. I'm going to let you know now that $20,000 was my payday for 4 hours of work for not bumping. My check for that Mexico tour has to be at least $20,000. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's fair. Is that not fair? Yeah, that's fair. Take a guess what my check for Mexico was. And I was doing hardcore matches in the fucking main event every night. And yes, I probably had a fucking full-blown staph infection at that point.
I'm going to say less than 20,000.
It was $5,000.
There it is.
4 shows for $5,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
You think Hogan ever got?
And
$5,000?
here's the thing. And I got the check, and I bring it to TV, and I put it on the table, and I went, fix this. Because we had, you know what I mean? I'm not a bad communicator. They just don't like the way I communicate. Because I told them up front. Told them 6 months, 8 months prior, hey, I'm going to this wedding. And then, like, you know, a week before the show, it was like, hey, I told you. I told you to fix this check. So at that time, a guy named Sean Cleary or McCleary or something like that was the head of talent relations, and he was the guy who was supposed to take care of that. But what does a guy who he came from, I think he had a basketball background or something like that. He might have worked within the Celtics organization. What does he know about wrestlers who fall down for a living and how they should get paid and how it's structured? And when the rest of the office treated me like a less than, like I was a piece of shit, like they probably talked bad behind my back and joked, what does that tell them in their mind? Like, oh, okay, so we probably don't have to pay Punk as much. And I got $5,000 fucking dollars for being in the main event doing hardcore fucking no street fight matches against Curtis Axel and Paul Heyman. $5,000. Now somebody out there on Twitter is going to be like, that's a lot of money.
I was just going to say that.
And I would love to work for Vince McMahon for $5,000. That's exactly who he fucking wants to have work for him. So go fucking work for him.
Yeah.
I know what the fuck I'm worth. You know why I know I'm worth? Because Wizard World was going to pay me $20,000 fucking dollars to sit in a fucking chair for 4 hours. And I bled every fucking night, and I fucking killed myself every night.
Bleed in Mexico? You didn't
Dude,
bleed.
we're fucking chairs, and I wasn't gigging.
Okay,
but you know what I mean?
Hysteria.
Hasidia.
That's from
thing?
Israel, I think.
Oh, yeah. And you know what I mean? And then they're like, oh, we're going to take care of it. We're going to fix it. And then they gave me a check for $4,000. And I was like, can you not add?
Yeah.
Are you fucking dumb?
This builds up.
Are you fucking dumb?
Badges, notches and badges.
Notches in my frustration badge. You know what I mean?
Should I add one to you right now?
Yeah.
My friend, I had a friend who was working with Slim Jim at the time, Scotty Immelfarb.
You had a... Oh my God.
Yeah. And he approached me, and I connected you two, and you just done the pipe bomb, and
so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I was gonna wear fight shorts, like the old CM Punk shorts, and Slim Jim was one of the sponsors that was going to be on my shorts.
They were all excited to. I mean, literally, like
I went and had fucking meetings.
Yeah.
I went out to, I don't know where the fuck they are. They're somewhere out in the burbs here. I went out and I had meetings with the head of the fucking company, and they were like
behind WWE, not behind, but like not set up by WWE.
No, not set up by WWE. And
right.
they were saying things like, face of Slim Jim, not since Randy Savage, this is going to be great and this is what we need. And they laid out these fucking ads for me where they had like funny ones where I was going to be a camp counselor, and they were doing this big ad thing where it was like, I don't know, it was like Slim Jim camp. It was like, you know, I don't know, whatever. And I was going to be like this hard ass, like, oh, you fell out of the tree and broke your arm. Fuck you, eat a Slim Jim. You know what I mean? But like, and they just kept saying, they're like, Randy Savage. And I was just like, oh, this is so fucking cool. I'm gonna be the fucking Slim Jim guy. And you saw it. I came home loaded with so many free Slim Jims and sunflower seeds and like all this shit that they fucking sell. And then what happened?
You weren't a Slim Jim man.
Not at all.
But there were other people with the WWE that were Slim Jim men that were in the next campaign.
They were the next campaign, and they were told by the office, no, you don't want CM Punk. You want Rey Mysterio, Big Show, and Eve Torres.
And then there was...
And I can only imagine, I can only assume that they just don't want this one person to have this powerful sponsor. And it reminds me of the time Paul Heyman wasn't working with the company, and he was writing the storylines for the video game. And it's same exact fucking time. I was hot as shit, white fucking hot. And Paul emails me, and he was like, "Hey, I'm just letting you know, these guys want you on the cover for the video game, and that's a really good spot for you, and you get extra money, and it's just great visibility. You know what I mean? You should do it." And I was like, "Sweet. I haven't heard anything." And Paul was like, "You haven't heard anything yet?" He's like, "I know they've been asking." And I was like, "Oh, no." And then somebody, not going to say who, sends me an email chain between somebody in the office, and the email chain's like, hey, we want CM Punk. And the office is going, nah, you don't. You want Sheamus. And the video game people are like, we want CM Punk on the cover. And the office goes, no, you want Sheamus. We would really like Sheamus to be represented on the cover of this. You know what I mean? It's like... Well,
you weren't, supposed to be privy to that, but
I was not.
You got, in your mind, this was going on, but you were like, no way that's really happening. And then you see it and you're like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
This is really happening.
This is really happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was one other thing with sorry to bring this up, but
do it.
Something about a tattoo show, and Randy had just gotten tattoos, and they want someone, maybe you don't remember this, they wanted you or you had set up something for a tattoo show.
I've forgotten more things that they've fucking bizarrely double-crossed me on.
Does that ring any kind of bell?
It kind of rings a bell.
And then they were like, no, Randy Orton's the tattoo guy.
Was it LA Inc.?
I think so.
It might have been.
I think so, yeah.
It might have been.
And they were fans of yours.
Yeah, my fucking friend worked there.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, you know what I mean? That's just one of those fucking weird things that they co-op. It's like... one of my great friends, straight edge, Dan Smith. You know what I mean? He worked it. He was that guy. If you go look at his Twitter, it says, yes, I'm that guy from LA Inc. And he was like, yeah, we want you in the show, and I'm going to get to tattoo you because he never got to tattoo me before, and blah, blah, blah. And then within a 1 week, 2 week span, Randy decides that he's going to get sleeves, and he gets sleeved, and then now the office is like, oh, no, let's put Randy on the show. Yeah. That's the way they fucking operate.
Yeah.
That's the way they operate.
And you want it out, and you got it. And you got it.
And I want it out. I didn't want that anymore. And now I don't have people telling me to tweet. I don't have a faceless writer that I don't even know his name walking up to me in catering and going, hey, can you tweet about John Cena's storyline? And then I just look at him and I go, yeah, as soon as John Cena tweets about my fucking storyline.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't got people telling me what to tweet. And I don't got people saying, even though that person on Twitter said they wish all homosexual people died, and then you told them to go kill themselves, you have to take that tweet down. What? I don't have people telling me to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's great. I still have people occasionally butt dialing me and butt tweeting me, which is fucking hysterical. I don't know what that means. Does that mean they're just like a forlorn girlfriend? Are they just staring at my number on the phone? You know what I mean? Hey, delete my number, guys. Delete my number so you don't butt dial me anymore. Yeah. You know, because it just kind of gets you into trouble.
Can we plug? You're gonna be doing down the
what?
The Challengers guy?
Yeah. That's out. Oh, you know what? And he just texted me something about the. Okay, yeah. All right.
So, I guess, moving forward. And you've got stuff coming up and,
yeah, I don't want to be that guy that's like, I'm working on this, and I'm working on this, and I'm working on this, but I am working on stuff, and I have already done stuff.
You're setting up the future outside of wrestling.
Absolutely.
Right.
Still doing lots of stuff with Nerdist. Like I said, I was in LA. I was doing stuff. I got some comic book things coming up, and I'm going to do, I can't remember the day. I'm a horrible person.
February something.
It was February. Yeah, it's February. 18th, it might be 28th.
28th, maybe.
I think the Thor annual comes out the 28th.
Okay.
It's horrible that I don't even know, but I will be at Challengers Comics in Chicago on Western Avenue, and I will be signing with Jason Aaron, the other writer of Thor, and he's one of my favorite writers, and he's a great guy. He loves barbecue. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
He's born in Alabama, so you know. Lives in Kansas City. He's a barbecue connoisseur. He wrote a comic book called Scalped, which is probably one of my favorite books of all time. So I think you should go maybe read that and read Thor.
Me? I am not.
You?
I'm not reading.
No.
You can read it to
I'm starting to think you don't know how to read.
It's maybe. I know how to read, but there's definitely some kind of something that wasn't diagnosed when I was a kid. Like
dyslexia?
A dyslexia. I think there was a dyslexia.
I think everybody's a little bit dyslexic.
Especially
I really do.
the way I say the Cabana-isms.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's dyslexia.
No, sure. It's a form.
And I think there's some AADD.
There's some AADD.
There's some of that,
Uh-huh.
in there.
You're a savant.
Just This is my hatred.
You're a savant.
Thank you. I don't know what kind of savant, but it's...
Oh, you played for the Blackhawks.
Oh, Dennis Savant.
Denis Savant.
A right-winger, I think.
I'm so proud of you for getting that.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
Only
What was the other team you was on where you won the Stanley Cup?
I would say the Rangers, but I don't know.
No.
The Devils?
No, come on.
Who's the left winger? Chris something.
Say his name. Denis Savard.
Denis Savard?
We were watching. What were we watching earlier?
Oh, Martin Brodeur? I don't know. We were watching 1993.
Patrick Roy.
Oh, Patrick Roy. Sorry.
Canadians.
I don't know.
All right.
Well, see, this is the point. We got you laughing. Good. And that's how this podcast normally is.
That's how the cookie crumbles. I'm missing the Bruins and the LA Kings right now.
Well, I'm sorry. I hope this was
Son of a bitch.
a little better than that. Good. So winding up, you hit everything you want to hit.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you were ever a fan of mine, if you ever wanted to see me wrestle on television or live in person, or you purchased a shirt or texting gloves or any other number of ridiculous merch items, hey, I thank you and I appreciate it. And I had to wait this long to tell the story for legal reasons. And it got out as soon as it could, you know. If I've offended you, hey, sorry. There's a chance you might need to lighten up, but you know, there's a chance I meant to offend you. I don't really know. I don't know where I'm going with that. I just want to say, if you support me, that's awesome. Thank you. If you don't like me, don't follow me on Twitter. If you don't like Kiss, don't buy their albums. You know what I mean? Find something that you love to do and do it, and don't worry about what everybody else is doing unless they're trying to murder or rape you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hit it.
Yep.
We good?
Yeah.
Good?
Jungle Love. O-E-O-E-O. Yep.
Ryan Gosling. Don't you dare tweet me or Punk. It's Ryan Gosling. And also, don't email me stuff unless it's just for me. All right? I am not the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. Ryan Gosling, right? Okay, we're not going to do it. Good. That's the show this week. Next week, there's going to be a regular show. I feel super bad for the person who's going to be on, but it's going to be a great show. I know which one it is. It's going to be great. It's a fun talk about wrestling. Hey, maybe you like the personality that I am. Maybe you stick around for the ride. Maybe you don't. If you don't, you're not my type. I'm not into you either. I'm just not that into you. Closure, we're done. That's it. We're done, right? Okay, that's it. Before we get out of here, let's get into some plugs and
Upcoming events.
Guys, this is an independent free podcast. The best way that you can support ColtMerch.com and DigitalColt.com. I got Twitter and Instagram. Follow me on both of those at Colt Cabana. I have a very public email. I'm trusting you with this. ColtWrestling@gmail.com. Maybe you're a promoter. You want to put me on your upcoming show or convention. You see how many hits this show gets. It's smart business. Wink, wink. Go back and watch worstpromoever.com. Marty and I did over a year's worth over there. ColtCabana.com is my personal website. I got a P.O. box there. I love getting snail mail. Send me something fun. And I got a Facebook/AOW podcast. You can like that. Upcoming this Sunday, December 7th, Toronto, Canada, DestinyWrestling.ca. And that's actually in the building that Santino Marella owns. Maybe I'll get Santino to say hello to everybody. That was awful. That was way too much pressure. Plus, everyone in the WWE probably hates me. Oh, yeah, I'm on people's shit list, guys. I'm on their shit list. You're on my shit list. Okay, that's not an upcoming event. But Saturday, December 20th is Rahway, New Jersey, ProWrestlingSyndicate.com. I'm in a four-way stacked card. If you're new to independent wrestling and you're in the East Coast area, come see it. AJ Styles versus Rob Van Dam. Jeff Jarrett's going to be there. Tully Blanchard's there. Ricochet's there. Jake the Snake. Gangrel. So many guys are going to be there. It's a wonderful show. ProWrestlingSyndicate.com. Sunday, December 21st, I'm going to be in Southern California. We realign that show. HollywoodWrestling.com. That's a TV taping for MAV TV. Saturday, December 27th, Berwyn, Illinois. AAWrestling.com. Sunday, December 28th, Providence, Rhode Island, Facebook.com/Beyond Wrestling. Saturday, January 10th, Granite City, Illinois, Facebook.com/PWCS Wrestling. January 16th to the 18th, I'm going to be in Miami, Florida for the Magic City Comic-Con.com. And Sunday, February 15th, London, England. You over there in the UK. RevolutionProWrestling.com. I know I've been banned, but I'm coming back and I'm trying to make my amends. You will see me there. That is the show for this week. Big thank you to you guys at home. Huge thanks to CM Punk. Thanks to Cable Guy Jeff and Stu Stone. I got it one more time. Thank you, Dane, over at Earwolf, Midroll, and Wolf Pop. Also, he's created a little podcast network himself. They have a podcast called Start Here Web Development. Maybe you want to learn about how to web develop. Go listen to that podcast at starthere.fm. And also thanks to Kid Russell and Matt Jenkins on the music. How about our sponsors? HuluPlus.com/Colt. Binge watch your favorite TV episodes and full seasons anywhere, anytime. $7.99 a month is a steal. You can get that 2 weeks absolutely free by heading over to HuluPlus.com/Colt. Thanks to HighSpots.com. Hundreds of full-length titles available to download, plus AMA knee pads, gear, wrestling ring, masks. The Freight Train documentary, which I am in and I watch, is a tearjerker. Go download that or watch that at highspots.com. ProWrestlingTees.com and BarbershopWindow.com, the original alternative and independent wrestling shirt companies, both powered by OneHourTees.com. Custom t-shirts made to your liking. And how about TweakedAudio.com/Colt? Use the earbuds that I use. Get over 30% off and free shipping just because you listen to this show. The show that is now over, the show that hopefully did not break any of the internet. I appreciate all your patience. I appreciate all your support. I appreciate the ones who are going to hang on to the show with me and join the others, the ones that you've heard about talking for so long, but you never decide to listen. And now you're listening. And you're like, hey, this ain't too bad. I can do this an hour every week. This show, that's right. Guys, this has been The Art of Wrestling. For Colt Cabana, I'm Colt Cabana. Thanks.
Recorded, he did right. Crambone. I wonder if I can just sing this entire podcast. Sound like some kind of a weird new age preacher. You ask me a question, then I answer in song.
What is the password to your ATM code?
The password to my ATM is go fuck yourself. GOFUCKYOURSELF! Exclamation mark.